are listening to the Discerning Leader Podcast, brought to you by Leadership Transformations, the podcast that helps you practice a preference for God.
Today's Holy Week reflection features one of our team members, Chrissy Chang. May this reading from the Gospel and an excerpt from Outstretched Arms of Grace anchor you in the story and events of the final week of Jesus' life, his death, his burial, and resurrection.
Hear the word of the Lord, a reading from John chapter 19, verses 38 to 42. Later, Joseph of Arimathea asked Pilate for the body of Jesus. Now Joseph was a disciple of Jesus, but secretly because he feared the Jewish leaders. With Pilate's permission, he came and took the body away. He was accompanied by Nicodemus, the man who had earlier visited Jesus at night. Nicodemus brought a mixture of myrrh and aloes, about 75 pounds. Taking Jesus' body, the two of them wrapped it with the spices in strips of linen. This was in accordance with Jewish burial customs. At the place where Jesus was crucified, there was a garden, and in the garden a new tomb in which no one had ever been laid. Because it was the Jewish day of preparation, and since the tomb was nearby, they laid Jesus there. And now a reading from Outstretched Arms of Grace. Joseph of Arimathea asked Pilate for the body of Jesus last night, knowing the bodies would be off the cross before the Sabbath. With his permission, he came and took Jesus to a tomb that had never been used. Before placing him there, another disciple, Nicodemus, brought along a mixture of 75 pounds of myrrh and aloes. The two men took Jesus' body and wrapped it with the spices and placed him in and among clean strips of linen. They placed Jesus in the tomb. There his body lay, in a solitary cave with a large stone covering the doorway, guarded well, sealed, protected, alone. After the upheaval of the previous day, the shared grief of watching Jesus suffer and die, today is left for quiet mourning and reflection. How had the outstretched arms of love led Jesus to such a lonely place? We wonder the same ourselves now, 2 millennia later. The Jesus we watched grows from the infant miraculously born to the Virgin, under the watchful tutelage of his carpenter father, and among his siblings in a crude home in Nazareth. His wisdom and stature and favor with God and man expanded exponentially over the years until he was baptized, tested, blessed, and sent out to fulfill his mission. We noted with the gospel writers his calling of the disciples to cease being fishermen, to become instead fishers of men. We watched with awe his miraculous turning of water into wine, making right that which was wrong, healing hurting bodies and troubled souls, welcoming children and strangers, teaching in parables, and ushering in the kingdom of heaven. We learned from his example of caring for the suffering, advocating for the weak, encouraging the brokenhearted, and restoring blind eyes, closed ears, and forgotten souls. We listened intently to his every word, and our lives are forever changed. And now we walk with Joseph and Nicodemus to the tomb, and we wait and watch with those who are stunned and doubting, and yet hoping and praying for a miracle. It's the day after we saw Jesus die so miserably on the cross. We can hardly get the sights out of our mind's eye, the smell out of our nostrils, the sadness out of our hearts. It was horrible to stand by helplessly as the victim of such cruelty was our friend, our teacher, our mentor, our guide. We trusted him, walked with him, and now we mourn. Is it all going to end in this tragic way? We're no longer all together, We're stunned and saddened. We're not sure what's next. We hope, we pray, we linger, we trust, we rest, we wait. Behold Jesus in our memories and now in the tomb. Believe in the words he once spoke as truth. Belong to the ones who hold fast to his promises and become a member of the family of Jesus who forever sing his praise as the one who came to life miraculously and will rise again miraculously once more.
Thank you for listening to the Discerning Leader Podcast. To learn more about how we can help you become a discerning leader through programs, events, and resources, visit leadershiptransformations.org. Be sure to consult the program notes for today's episode. Remember, a listening leader is a discerning leader. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on the Discerning Leader Podcast.